We are live. I see some attendees are starting to join us. So glad to have you all here tonight. Welcome to Honors College Night at Missouri State University. We're going to be getting started here very shortly. Good to have so many folks joining us. We've assembled an amazing panel of Honors College students and staff. We're looking forward to getting to know you all better and hearing your questions and telling you about our experiences as Honors College members here at Missouri State. It's 6:58 by my clock. We're going to let people continue to join us. We'll probably get started just a few minutes after 7 o'clock. Meanwhile, if you have any questions for us, feel free to put those in the chat and the Q&A. We're going to get started again here very shortly. We were just talking about this. We want to say thanks to all of the folks who joined us tonight. Our students have spring break starting on Saturday, so we're very glad that they were willing to share their time with us on the Thursday before spring break. Lots of attendees joining us. We'll get started right away, folks. We're going to give a little bit more time for people to join us. Good to have you here tonight. Lots of folks pouring into the room. Great way to spend your Thursday evening learning a little bit more about Honors College at Missouri State University.
We already have a question. That's so good. Thanks, everyone.
Oh, great.
I'm there right now.
You know, I'll tell you, for just a moment, our number of attendees paused on 42, and I thought, how appropriate for Douglas Adams' birthday. So I was happy. Folks, good to have you here. I know it's 7 o'clock. Welcome to Honors College Night at Missouri State University. We're so glad to have you here. We're going to get started in just a minute or two. We're going to give just a little bit of additional time for folks to join us. We had a number of folks sign up for our event tonight, and so we want to give everybody just a little bit of time to get logged in before we begin. We'll start out by doing some introductions. We're going to introduce you to the awesome Honors College students that are joining us here this evening, as well as Scott Hambly, who serves as Assistant Director of the Honors College. He's going to be sharing some information about how this program works. And then once we're done with that, we'll be answering your questions for the next hour or so about what it's like to be a scholar here at Missouri State, how Honors College works, some of the cool things that these students have done. So again, we're going to get started here in about 1 minute. About 7:02, maybe 7:03, we'll go ahead and begin. But again, you're at the right place. If you're looking for Honors College Night at Missouri State University, we're glad to have you here. Aha. So that first question is about Scholar's House. Very cool. How many people have lived in Scholar's House, by the way? Well, goodness, that's a fairly large percentage. I lived in the Scholar's House before there was Scholar's House. It was called Honors House. And then they built the new Scholar's House and tore down the Honors House. So it was a good place to live.
Where was the old Honors House?
Well, it's now a parking lot, catty corner to Juanita K. Hammond's Hall for the Performing Arts. It was there right across the street, kind of from the fountain that's in front of Juanita K. And it was a apartment building that had 12 apartments, 12 two-person apartments, so it housed a total of 24 people. New one houses upwards of 120, so definitely an improvement. Okay, well, I think it's time that we begin. So again, my name is Sean Cleathermos. I'm one of the assistant directors in the Office of Admissions. I have been here at Missouri State University as a student a long time ago. I've served in the admissions for quite a few years, taught a few classes. I was also very happy to be a member of the Honors College while I was here at Missouri State University as a student. So it's my privilege to be able to help spread the word about Honors College at Missouri State. We've got a great evening planned for you tonight. At Honors College Night, we're going to provide some helpful information about how Honors College works. And then we've got some awesome panelists who are assembled. We've got current students here to talk about their experiences in the Honors College. We've also got Scott Hambly, who serves as Assistant Director of the Honors College, kind of explaining how things work and helping to answer questions. We're going to get started with some brief introductions, and then we're going to have a presentation where we explain the nuts and bolts of Honors College, and then we're going to get to your questions. So if you have any questions for us, feel free to put those in the Q&A in the chat, and we'll do our best to get to as many of them as we can before we try to call it quits, roughly about 8 o'clock. We might be able to go a little bit longer if we've got a number of pressing questions or things to talk about at that point. But let's get started, I think, with some quick introductions. Scott, would you like to say a little bit about yourself, and then we'll have our other panelists introduce themselves?
Yes, good evening. My name is Scott Hambly. I'm the Assistant Director of the Honors College. I've been at Missouri State for 10 years now, and I am one of the Chief Academic Advisors for Honors College students, which is one of the best jobs in the world because I get to interact with each and every single one of you and help you figure out your goals and your dreams and the plans to put you in a position to pursue them. So I'm really excited about the opportunity to start building a relationship with you this evening. And that, of course, will continue then in the summer and especially next fall when we welcome you all to campus.
Thank you, Scott. Now I'm going to ask each of our student panelists to introduce themselves. I think I'm just going to give you each a name as we go around where you are on my screen. So panelists, we'll give you an opportunity to talk just a little bit more about your decision to come to Missouri State and how that all happened. But initially, if you could tell us your name, hometown, major, what year you are in school, okay? And why don't we start out with Belle?
Okay, hi, I'm Belle. I'm basically from Springfield. I've lived here for about 11 years. I'm a senior this year and I'm majoring in history.
Great, good to have you here, Belle. Next on my screen is Casey.
What is up? I'm Casey. I am from Wichita, Kansas. I am only a freshman here at Missouri State, and I am majoring in mathematics and minoring in film.
Turn on my mic. Thanks, Casey. Kendall is next on my list.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining us tonight. I'm Kendall. I'm from Joplin, Missouri. I'm majoring in entertainment management and I'm a senior graduating this May.
Terrific. Sarah?
Hey everyone, we're happy to have you here tonight. My name is Sarah. I'm from St. Louis. I'm a current junior here at Missouri State, and I'm an English major.
Outstanding. Maria?
Hi, everyone. Thank you guys for being here. My name is Maria Maluso. I am a graduate student, but I graduated from the honors program at Missouri State. I'm originally from St. Louis, and I studied professional writing in undergrad and am now earning my master's in professional writing as well.
Terrific. Well, so good to have all of you panelists here tonight. Thanks for joining us on the eve of your spring break. Scott, would you like to begin things formally by telling us a bit more about how the Honors College works?
Absolutely. And some of you who are tuned in this evening may have heard us talk earlier this year. And so I've kind of tailored this presentation to you. If this is your first visit to the Honors College, everything you want or need to know about us that I'm not touching upon this evening is going to be available to you on the Honors College website, which is missouristate.edu/honors. And if you go there, you will find our YouTube channel. And there are several video presentations designed for you guys that talk about the background, the honors of the honors program, our philosophy, and our approach to education. And you can learn all that great background information. But tonight, I wanted to touch a little bit more on sort of the experience of being an honors student and what that means for you. I'm not going to get quite so technical as I will when we do our registration conversations in the summer, but I want to give you a little chance to explore, what it means like, or what it looks like to be an honors student, what that means for you in your planning and the opportunities available to you. And then I hope that it's a great segue then between my presentation and what our students will share, about how they've kind of actualized all the things I'm about to talk about, the kinds of classes they've experienced over the years and what the impact upon them has been. So I've got a few slides to show you, but I'm not actually going to read a PowerPoint presentation this evening, thankfully, but it'll just give you a little bit greater sense of the depth of what it is I'm talking about. So hopefully, let's go ahead and do this from the beginning. I'm going to scroll down here to the slides I'm interested in. And we're going to talk a little bit about what honors really means and what the impact upon you is going to be. In order to earn an undergraduate degree at Missouri State University, you are asked to complete a minimum of 120 credit hours. Okay, so you need 120 credits in order to graduate. As an honors college student, we're going to ask you to take 19 of those credit hours through our program. So 19 credits very specifically in honors studies. And I want to point that out because I think it's important for you guys to understand that your honors experience is not adding additional time and coursework to your graduation plan. The 19 credits you take through the honors college are part of the 120 total. So it's not 120 plus 19. It's not 139 credits. It's 120 total. And the program is designed to work for all majors and all academic backgrounds and interests. So what we are asking you to do as honors students is not going to crowd out other things that you want and need to do at the university. So our approach is to try to help you complete your dreams and your goals, get the courses you want and need, and to take your undergraduate experience and make it even deeper and richer and better than it was already going to be at Missouri State. It's not about placing obstacles in the path of your graduation. The average honors college student will probably take one honors course each semester. Every student's a little bit different, and I'm going to get to work with each of you to figure out what your schedule can and should look like. But to give you a sense, most students will take about 15 credit hours or about 5 classes each semester. On average, one of those is through the honors college. So it's going to be an important part of your university experience, but honors study is not the end all be all of what you're doing. You're going to take all sorts of courses beyond the honors program with different kinds of professors, different kinds of students, and you're not going to be limited or restricted in any way, shape, or form. We offer courses in as many as 20 different academic departments here at the university. And that's something I love because it really gives you a lot of choices and a lot of flexibility so that you can customize your registration and your planning to help explore your interests and to help you achieve your goals. There is no one-size-fits-all pathway through honors. One of the things I looked at in preparation for this webinar this evening was the 5 students who you see up on your screen right now. Between them, they have taken 27 distinct classes in the honors college. And that gives you a sense of the range of choices students have and the variety and breadth that's out there. There's a lot of different things you can do. And I think that's really a lot of fun. To give you a sense of what you might be doing in fall of 2021, we currently anticipate that we will offer 29 classes in the fall semester that will be open for registration for first-year students. So 29 classes. The average class size will be 20 students per class. So you're not only going to have a lot of choices in terms of what are you interested in or what kinds of requirements do you need to satisfy, but you're going to have a very rich and intimate experience because in a small classroom, you get to know your professors, you get to participate in class, ask questions to your classmates, to your professor, design your own projects and learning goals. And it's a really great experience, especially I think for first-year students, because there's a fair chance a lot of your first-year classes will be very large. The largest class at Missouri State has 350 students in it. And so we don't want all of your classes to be sitting in a large, dark lecture hall just watching PowerPoint slides. We want you to be engaged and to get involved and to have an experience that's a lot more personalized than maybe the traditional student would have. So you're going to learn a lot more about these 29 classes in about a month's time. I'm going to start sending you materials to help you get ready for orientation. but I hope you'll get excited by the range of choices that you have. These classes are designed to do many different things for you, again, depending on the choices that you make. The classes you take in the Honors College may help you to satisfy general education requirements that you have. In some cases, they may count towards your major or your minor or a certificate program. In some cases, you may have one course counting for multiple different requirements. And that's something I will always try to help you identify when we do your personalized registration planning. So not only are you taking the courses you need to graduate, but we're sort of maximizing the opportunities available to you. We offer courses organized around service learning in the Honors College, research opportunities, and I know some students here can talk more about that if you're interested, as well as overseas study. And I also like to think that we have a strong emphasis on fun. Obviously, our courses are all serious and you're going to do some rigorous learning in them, but we have some really fun topics you can explore. The history of piracy is one example. We do a course on the musical Hamilton, I think is another a really fun course that a lot of students have responded positively to. Students in this group have taken courses Victorian sexuality, education and culture, bioethics, truth and autobiographical writing, all sorts of cool things. And we're eager to share those kinds of opportunities with you. You also have the unique opportunity in the Honors College to create your very own class. So if you're looking for something that you can't otherwise find at Missouri State University, so for example, let's say you come in and you tell me that you have a real passion for Icelandic literature. Well, sadly, our English department doesn't offer a course on Icelandic literature, but there is no reason that you and a professor can't sit down and create that course. So we would start by asking you the question, what do you think are the most important books that you need to read in Icelandic literature? Who are the authors that you need to know? We put together a reading list for you. And then we design, projects, essays, presentations to go around that lets you really explore that and show off what you learned. That's a lot of fun for individual students, but I can also tell you it's something professors love doing because normally that's not something you would get to explore because sadly, we don't have 400 students at Missouri State who want to take Icelandic literature every year. But in the Honors College, one student is enough. So I can help you learn about how you can do that. And that's, I think, a really unique and interesting opportunity for undergraduate students because it lets you do some things that you might not otherwise get to do until you enroll in graduate school. The end goal in all of our courses, no matter what the subject matter is to help you utilize and apply the knowledge that you're learning. So it's not strictly about memorization of facts. The ideas we share with you, the theories, the models, how do you use them and how do you make them relevant to your goals, whether that's in the classroom or in the career pathway? And again, I know that's something that our seniors especially can talk to you about here today. So, you may be learning the same kinds of economics and psychology and literature that any other university student will, but the difference in honors is we're giving you the opportunity to use and apply that knowledge in creative and interesting ways instead of simply taking a test and having a class that's literally one size fits all. So that's a little bit about our approach in the classroom and the variety of classes that we offer. We place a strong emphasis on individual attention and support in the Honors College. So we want to make sure throughout your career, you're getting advice on classes, on choices you're making, on going to graduate school, on activities on campus, events you should attend. How does financial aid work? Where do you want to live next year? Anything and everything that's on your mind. If you want or need someone to come in and talk to, the Honors College can serve as your home base. We've got a small staff or rather we have a staff dedicated to a small body of students. So all we do all day, every day is support honors students. So I hope you'll get to know us and come in and let us help you to make your experience at Missouri State deeper, richer, and more rewarding. And then I think there's a lot that happens through Honors College that I'll describe as learning beyond the classroom, or I like to talk about co-curricular life. And that's where living the life of the mind and ideas meets up with things going on. That could be community service, it can be student programs and clubs, it can be events, guest panels, conferences. It's just a lot of stuff going on campus and around campus that you may want to know about and participate in. It's not stuff you have to do. It's not stuff that you must finish in order to graduate, but it's going to make your college experience a lot more dynamic, interesting, impactful, and meaningful. And again, Kendall in particular, I think is a great one to talk about this because she was on something called the Student Activities Commission and was very involved with bringing people and artists and events to campus so that people would have things to do that were interesting. And we get them out of the classroom and meeting and mingling with other students with like minds. So that's a big part of what we do as well. So it's not just about courses, that's of course the foundation of what we do, but it's also about sort of living a certain lifestyle as students, getting engaged with one another, getting engaged with your university, and just feeling a real strong sense of identity and community at Missouri State. So it's not just the place where you went to class or got your degree, but in many ways it's a home and it's a family and something, we hope you'll look back upon with fondness for many, many years. Of course, we hope you'll be very successful in life, give us a lot of money so we can put your name on a building or a scholarship. That's something Mr. Cleith Hermes has done for us. He's an active donor and sponsor of the Honors College. We're grateful for that. His contributions allow us to do things for you we couldn't do otherwise. So that I think is enough for me. That's just a quick snapshot and introduction of kind of what we do and how. I'll let the students, talk a little bit about some of these things now from their point of view, because they're the ones who live and breathe and do this. They're in the classes, they're writing the papers and projects and organizing and leading activities on campus. And I'm very excited to hear what they have to share with you this evening.
We're certainly glad to have them here. Scott, thank you so much for that great introduction to the Honors College. Terrific perspective to share. You know what? And something I'd like to do actually just before we begin talking to our panelists, we've got some poll questions that we would like to ask the audience to answer. And just 3 questions, I promise. This is not a quiz. You may find quizzes in the Honors College, but this is not. So I'm going to go ahead and actually, I think it's just one question, one poll, but it has the 3 questions included. So if you could take a minute, attendees, I see we've got 62 people joining us this evening. If you take a moment or two to respond to this poll. Thanks so much. You guys are quick. We've got almost 70% of people having responded already. That's right, panelists, you can't answer. I'm sorry. No skewing the results. Almost all have answered at this point. We'll keep it open for a few more seconds. 95%. Okay, we'll give it just a moment or 2 more, and then we're going to shut it down. All right. Give it just a moment. We'll end the polling. All right. Let's close it down. I'll share the results. So it looks like about 3/4 of the students who are joining us tonight have decided to attend Missouri State. A few folks still making that final decision. That's okay. We know that can be tough. And in fact, the first thing we're going to ask our panelists about is how they came to the decision to attend Missouri State. It looks like about 56% have decided to accept their invitation to attend Honors College. We hope all of you will have decided by the end of the night. And a number of people have expressed interest in Scholars House. We'll explain how that will work more in just a moment. Okay, give me just a moment, folks, and I'll get to our next question. Apologies, I got a little bit dry there for a second. Okay, let's go to our first question for our panelists. Once upon a time, you were high school seniors trying to make your final decision about what school to go to. And I know I'm sure it felt like a momentous decision at the time. Can you share a bit about your experience in deciding to come to Missouri State University? Ultimately, what led you to decide to come here? Anybody want to start out?
I can start. So whenever I was looking at colleges, I had no idea at all what I wanted to do. It was like October of my senior year of high school. Hadn't even started looking at colleges really. Didn't know what I wanted to do. And my uncle mentioned that like maybe I love concerts, and maybe I should be an audio engineer and like go on the band, like on tour and mix sound. So I started looking at audio engineer schools. Side note, I'm really bad at it. I will not be doing that as a career, but I was looking at schools kind of in Nashville just to be around the music. And then I'm from Joplin, so only an hour away. And I applied to Missouri State as kind of my safety school. And that was before I even knew about the entertainment management program or any real opportunities Missouri State had. And looking at out-of-state tuition, and also just none of the colleges really felt right. I got the chance to go tour them, and just something about it didn't fit. Like, it's really weird. If you guys have the opportunity to tour a college in person, it's an interesting thing. When you go, you'll feel something about the campus. And I'd been to Missouri State previously, but never been on a tour or anything like that. And so I actually had my cousin show me around, and it just felt right, I guess. So I learned about the entertainment management program. I ended up getting a scholarship here. And then from there, everything really fell into place. And I'm so happy I came to Missouri State. It took me a while to figure out this is where I needed to be, but it's led me to my passion and everything I want to do in my career. So
I can
Great.
speak to that.
Oh, please do, Maria. I was going to say, who wants to be next?
So I kind of had a different experience of deciding to come to Missouri State. I kind of like Kendall, I was really late in the game for personal family emergency reasons. And so I had all of these like grand plans of becoming a political scientist or a lawyer or a doctor. But that wasn't really what I wanted to do. I come from a family of immigrants, and so that was kind of the way to be successful. But really what I wanted to do was write. And so I looked at a lot of different institutions thinking, oh, maybe I want to do journalistic writing, and maybe I want to write books. And it never really felt right. There were certain aspects of other institutions that just didn't click with me. And I knew I really wanted to engage in research as well. And when I got to Missouri State, kind of like Kendall was saying, there's just a feeling that I got. I remember walking around campus and getting a tour and thinking, oh, this is really nice. It's big, but the Honors College has a small school kind of feel. I feel like I could have a community here. I was watching people run around and use Nerf blasters for humans versus zombies, which we do on campus every year. And it was a really nice feeling. But I waited. So I applied, and I had to wait until we found out all the scholarship information, all of the financial aid information. But ultimately, when I sat down to list the pros and cons, the programs at Missouri State and the honors program in particular really caught my attention. And I didn't make my decision until like the end of April. I was the worst student. So I actually didn't end up getting into scholars or anything like that, but I did get to come to Honors SOAR, and I did get to live in an honors learning community that does not exist anymore, unfortunately. And that was a really great experience. So I waited a little bit longer, but ultimately this felt like the right option and gave me so many opportunities. And that's what I was really looking for.
Great. Anybody else want to share their perspective?
I had an experience sort of similar to Kendall's where I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I did not look at colleges until probably like way later than I should have been. And I had changed my mind about what I wanted to major in like 15 times. I went from like wildlife rehabilitation to being a chemist. And I settled on history, specifically Egyptology. But in particular, I found that the Honors College was the way they answered questions was very quick and nice, and they were just very friendly and open to me when I was like asking questions. Same with like the history department when I was asking questions. And it was just a really like friendly interaction that just left me feeling good. And I ended up getting a scholarship, and it's close to home, and it just fit all the niches that it needed to.
Great. Well, good deal. Thanks for sharing those perspectives. Casey, were you going to say something?
Oh, I can or I can't.
Go ahead. No, it's all good.
Yeah, I guess mine's totally different. I looked at like, I think I applied for like 10 colleges, and Missouri State was the one that I applied to because my dad went here. And I told him, no, I don't want to go there. You went there for college. I'm not going to follow you. and he got me to take a tour, and I actually didn't love my first tour. I was still pretty settled on, I don't think I really want to go there. And then it was actually, I came here a few months later interviewing for a scholarship, and I interacted with people at the Honors College. Scott, I think I actually met you that day, and I got to know a bit more about like specifically what it would be like living at Scholars House and in the honors community. And that was when it finally clicked for me, where I was like, oh yeah, I kind of do love this place. And I don't often admit to my dad that I'm wrong, so I didn't. But I did end up going here, following his advice. So.
What year did your dad graduate from Missouri State?
Oh, it would have been something like 92, somewhere in there.
No kidding. We were
Yeah.
contemporaries. We'll have to talk about that
Oh
sometime.
yeah?
So yeah, I graduated in 94. So
Wow.
yeah, cool. Good. Thanks for sharing. We appreciate that. Legacies are always welcome at Missouri State. We're glad to have you back. Okay, so we've had a number of good questions pop up in the chat. One of them I'd like to pose is, we've had questions about Scholars House, which is a residence hall on campus that is just for members of the Honors College. It's 120 some, is that correct, Scott? As far as, yep, you're on mute, but that's okay. Yeah. Okay. The nodding made me think that maybe we were in the ballpark. Suite style residence hall with private bathrooms for each suite, and just a really unique living experience. I think something like 4 of the 5 panelists have lived in Scholars House. Is that correct? Any of you care to share your experience? Go ahead, Sarah.
I'll go ahead. So, I really love Scholars. I didn't originally, when I applied for housing, have Scholars as my #1 choice, because I wasn't fully aware kind of what it was. And, so I applied actually for a different housing option. And then when I learned more about the Honors College and I accepted my invitation, I called Residence Life and I said, hey, would you be able to switch my housing assignment? I hadn't gotten my assignment yet, but I was like, would you be able to put me as Scholars as my #1 choice? And they did that for me, which was really nice. So I ended up living in Scholars. I didn't know many people when I came to Missouri State, so I had 3 randomized roommates, and they were very nice. I got to know people on my floor. Scholars is just kind of an open community type of thing where people will keep their doors open in the hallways, and you'll be walking down the hallway and you can poke your head in and wave hi and ask how they're doing, and hang out with people. I made friends with people on different floors, and I would go into their rooms and watch movies with them and comedy specials and stuff like that. And I just really love Scholars. It's like its own little community. I know every year we have this thing. I cannot remember the name of it, and I'm sure someone in the group will, but it's this marshmallow war thing where you have you these marshmallows, and it's basically a game of assassins where you have to throw a marshmallow at someone. You have a name of a target and you hit them, and then you get their target when you hit them, and basically there's a winner at the end. So it's just fun community games like that goes on for a week and a half or something. I really loved my resident assistant. There was a bunch of events that she led and stuff. So I'll let other people talk, but I really like Scholars.
Were they big marshmallows or little marshmallows?
Oh, the big ones. Yeah.
The big ones? Yeah.
Yeah, the jumbo ones. Yeah. So it wouldn't hurt, but it would catch you by surprise. And it wasn't just fair game Scholars. It could be any building on campus. So it couldn't be in a class. You're not going to disrupt class. But if you were in class with that person, as soon as you left the classroom, you could throw the marshmallow at them. So it was a campus-wide kind of game. So
that game has been around for a long time. We did it too back in my day. We used squirt guns, and you can't obviously get away with having a squirt gun on campus anymore. Nothing like that. But I like the idea that it has evolved into throwing marshmallows at people. That sounds pretty safe. So yeah. Anybody win this game? No, you all got taken out.
I was so bad at it. I was not good at being stealthy at all, and I always would forget, and so I'd be an easy target because I'd leave myself open. But
well, that's great. Any other perspectives to share about Scholars House? I see Casey wants to chat.
Yeah, I'm there. This is my dorm. I'm in Scholars right now,
Oh.
and I am on the Hall Council Executive Board. So I do a lot of event planning and stuff through that, and that's really fun. Last night we had a house event for St. Patrick's Day where I had hidden 6 golden leprechauns in random places in the house, and I wrote limericks for each one as a riddle, and you had to find one to progress to the next one, and that went over really well. It was a good time. I'm very close with a lot of people on my floor, including my RA, who I share a wall with right here. If I yelled hi to him loud enough, I guarantee you he would respond. And yeah, I've just made a lot of good friends by living here because it is so like tight knit. We do movie nights. We're planning a big Godzilla versus King Kong watch party the week we get back from spring break. It's a really like tight knit, close group, and I would highly recommend living here.
That's terrific. Casey, I think that the big question on the mind of everyone is who's going to win, Godzilla or King Kong?
Kong, because
Think
he's
so?
only Kong right now, and Godzilla's king. So if Kong beats Godzilla, then he becomes King Kong. That's how it has to work.
I see Belle disagrees.
All my friends disagree.
Okay, so she's just saying nope. Okay, Scholars House. Anybody else want to talk about Scholars House before we go on to the next
I
question?
can chime in really quick.
Please do, Kendall.
So I remember being kind of bummed when I got my housing assignment, not that it was Scholars, but because I had requested to room with one of my friends that I knew ahead of time. I was super excited to be in Scholars because the room layout looked awesome. I was excited to be around Scholars too, but I didn't get placed with who I wanted to room with. But instead I got 3 random roommates, and they are my best friends in the world to this day. Like Res Life, the Honors College, they know what they're doing when they're putting you together. Even though we're all so different in like our majors and interests, like we all have that common like heart and work ethic and like interest in just like learning and like building community. So I met my roommates who were incredible in Scholars. I met most of my closest friends to this day, like closer than most of the people that I had in high school and knew like my whole life. I met them in Scholars on my floor. So just like leave your door open if you're in there. People are super friendly. You'll never know who you meet. I absolutely love Scholars. I lived there freshman and sophomore year.
Yeah,
Terrific.
I did too. I lived there my freshman and half of my sophomore year before the pandemic. Yeah.
It really is a very unique living experience. All the residence halls form their own communities. And that said, there's something I think very unique and special about just the collectiveness of Scholars House. It really is a unique experience. And by the way, not required. Not everyone, necessarily wants to live in Scholars House, and that's okay. It is an option if you're a member of the Honors College, but it is again not required. This may have already been answered in chat, but for either Scott or Maria. Is it something that freshmen typically have access to, or does it tend to be a residence hall that's more likely for a sophomore to be able to get into?
I'm happy to answer that. We have students from every class cohort in Scholars House, first year students all the way up through 5th year seniors. So it's a great mix of students. Also a great way to meet people and to meet students who may be able to serve as mentors for you. I would say probably the majority of the residents are 1st and 2nd year students. And I think that's probably true in most of the residence halls across campus. But yeah, it is not unusual for us to have students who will spend their entire residential career at Scholars House. We're very proud of that because we think that speaks to the quality of the experience that they are having. Great.
Now, one of the questions that popped up was about study away experiences. And I know at least one person who you can tell by her background has had an opportunity to do a study away experience. But has anyone else as well? Anybody done a study? Okay. So would anybody like to talk about their study away experience? And Maria, we're definitely going to start with you since you have such a beautiful background. And it kills me that this is a picture you took yourself. Is that correct?
Now that I'm thinking about it, this might not be the one that I took,
Oh,
but
yeah?
I did take a picture there. Yes.
It's very picturesque.
Thank you. Yeah, I had the opportunity to study abroad in Ireland for a summer, and it was an amazing experience. I recommend that anyone who has even a fleeting interest in seeing the world, in experiencing another culture, do it. The Honors College really helps make it, I want to say, affordable. I had a really not easy time, but money was tight and I was able to make it work. They offer programs for the fall semester, the spring semester, the summer semester, or the whole year. And it's, or there are faculty-led trips for a couple of weeks, and those can actually count as honors course credit. So in my experience, I went for the whole summer. I got to take classes at NUI Galway, and I learned a little bit more about creative writing, about literature, Irish literature, and it's actually become kind of my inspiration as a filmmaker. So I'm already planning on going back as soon as the pandemic lifts. I was supposed to go back in 2019, but that didn't happen, or 2020, I mean, but that didn't happen. So it's a really great experience. You get to meet all kinds of new people. I got to travel by bus and see pretty much the entirety of the west of Ireland. It was amazing.
That's wonderful. By the way, real quickly, before we talk about a few other perspectives, there's really never a better time, never a less expensive time to do great travel than whenever you are a student. There are so many opportunities and advantages to traveling while you're in school than later on in life when it gets to be more expensive and maybe more difficult to fit into your life. We have a great study away office here at Missouri State University. It's very common for our scholars to go on a study away trip at some point. If you're a member of the Honors College, you've been offered a scholarship of some type, and a number of those come with a $1,000 study away stipend. And in addition, in most cases, the scholarship and financial aid money that you're receiving here will apply towards the cost of going overseas. It's also typically not very difficult to work in a study away experience to your academic program. Academic programs from all over campus can be made to work with a study away, especially if you start communicating with that office early on. So I'd strongly encourage you to consider it. I went to London myself as a sophomore on our Missouri London program, had an amazing experience. Anybody else want to talk about their study away?
I
No?
can.
Oh, please do.
Yeah, mine's a little different from Maria, and it's kind of been a crazy journey with study away because of COVID. But I took a faculty-led 1-week trip, and it was to Oxford, London, and Paris. I had an amazing time. It was over spring break, so very short little trip over there, but I absolutely loved it. And it's really cool because it was with actually my major professor. So we got to really learn things that were applicable to what I'm interested in. So you might have a chance to do that with something in your major, and you might be able to just explore something completely different. But then I was supposed to go to London last semester. It was canceled due to COVID, but because of that, I'm actually planning a trip to South Korea for the summer. So fingers crossed that goes through. There's a little bit of shuffling to see if that'll work based on their like quarantine issues, but I'm planning on that. And also because I went to London on that short term, I'm gonna go to grad school in London next year. So yeah, studying away at Missouri State really helped me find my way to grad school over there.
Wonderful. Anybody else care to go ahead?
Yeah, sure. I can talk a little bit as well. Well, first of all, I know that there are specific, and Scott can talk about this a little bit more, but there are specific credits that you can earn through the Honors College through studying away. So, if you decide to study away through the Honors College, you can get credits for that, which is really cool. I didn't do that because I wanted to go for an entire semester. And someone in the chat, I think even asked what kind of countries there are as options. And honestly, anywhere you want to go, we can pretty much send you there. So for me personally, it was location that was more important to me. So I went to the study away office, and they're very helpful. They offer a lot of different pamphlets, and they make it a lot easier for you. But I spent 2019 in the fall for the whole semester, I was in actually Seoul, South Korea. So Kendall will be visiting South Korea this summer, but I was in Seoul from August to December. I'm an Asian Studies minor. There's no Korean minor here, so it's called Asian Studies. But I got to learn about Korean culture and language and meet people from all over the world. And like it was mentioned before, some of my scholarship was able to carry over to studying abroad, which was really great. And it actually allowed me to be able to do that because I wouldn't have been able to afford it otherwise. It was a really great experience. I would highly recommend anyone, even if you have even a small interest in studying abroad, at least doing it for one of those 10-day programs or something is just a really great experience. I've had other friends that have studied abroad. For example, like the theater department goes to like Edinburgh almost every year. So I have friends that have gone on that trip and really loved it. So highly recommend it. It was a great experience, pretty much life-changing. I know a lot of people say that, but
Edinburgh is an amazing town. If you get the opportunity, I recommend it. I noticed that someone asked, does a study away experience extend a person's time? Not necessarily is the answer. In fact, most cases not. Maybe occasionally, but usually the idea is we want you to make academic progress while you're there. So the idea is you start working with the study away office so that the courses that you're taking there will help in your academic program. That said, there's always the occasional case where a student will decide because they want to do it and it doesn't necessarily fit in, but most cases it does. Yeah, that's the idea, is that it's a part of your experience, not necessarily something that's just separate.
yeah, I mean, personally, it didn't add any time for me. I know a lot of people, especially you all, because you're in the honors college, are probably coming in with a lot of credits. So that allows you kind of that wiggle room, I feel like, to be able to take a semester or a summer to kind of go abroad, or like Maria said, it's study away, because you can study away in the US as well.
All
Same
right.
is true for me. I was able to, excuse me, come in not quite as a sophomore, but I had credits from high school and I finished in 4 just like I planned to. So it really is going to depend on everybody's unique degree program, and you can come talk to us advisors. We'll be able to help you kind of work through that.
They're a great resource. Going to shift gears just a little bit here. First of all, Michael is siding with Casey on the Great Godzilla versus King Kong debate. He says the Monkey Man wins. We'll see, Michael. We'll see. And then he comes up with another good question. He says, can you guys share a little bit of information about how many hours a week you spend studying and how much you spend working and how you balance all those cool things to do in college with the time needed to be scholars as well, to do well in your coursework and make progress? Anybody want to talk about that?
I have a weird one for this because right now I have 2.5 hours in person a week and the rest of it is asynchronous. So I'm taking 4 other courses that there's no Zoom, there's no assigned course time. So it's really just up to me to get the work done. And I think in that sense, like being on track of my time was even more important than it was last semester when I had more classes in person. But I haven't found too much of a struggle with it because especially when you come to college, I haven't gotten far enough to have like a lot of other stuff to worry about. I haven't had like a big job here or anything yet. You have a lot more free time than you think you're going to. And so as long as you like chart out everything that you need to get done and you're conscious of, okay, this is going to take me an hour on this day and this will take me 2 hours on this day, it's not as big of a stressor as I think you would worry about. There's plenty of time to study and get good grades and still like be a person and interact with other people.
I can chime in too a little bit, like what Casey said. I remember coming from high school and being like, wow, look at all of this free time that I suddenly have because I'm not in class from 8 a.m. to 6 and then have all kinds of sports practices and stuff too with school. It's really cool when you come to college because you have a lot of free time. You just have to know how to manage it. Personally, I really like working on top of school because I'm really interested in my major. Missouri State has really good opportunities for me to get involved in my major. So last year I held 3 jobs. They were all super part-time. So they were like, one of them was about 10 hours a week, and then one of them was only like 3 hours a week, and then the other one varied wildly because I worked at the arena on campus working shows. So some weeks I would work 5 hours, some week I would work close to 40. But the good news is you can do all of it. You just have to really manage your time. I had a really great time with that. And one good thing is there are a couple jobs on campus where you can do homework at those jobs. So like being a desk worker at JQH, a lot of times when we had downtime, I could do homework there. So it's definitely pretty manageable to hit all the things that you want to hit. Don't get overwhelmed, don't overwork yourself, but you can definitely do it.
I'd even say that the honors classes that I took, I was more engaged in the classroom learning. So we would have discussions. I would read really interesting books. We would have really interesting assignments, but I never felt like I was spending a whole lot of time on it. And I don't know if the rest of the panelists have ever felt that way. It almost felt easier because I was more engaged. I was more excited about the learning. So it never really felt like work. During my time on campus as an undergraduate student, I was able to hold a couple of jobs. I worked on our research journal logos that we can talk about if anybody is interested in learning more. But I also, I was able to do things on the weekends with friends. I had the opportunity to I had the opportunity to work on a distinction project, even though I was in the regular honors program, and do what would be considered extra work, but it was just research in my field that I was really excited about. So there's definitely a lot of opportunities to learn time management, but once you get it down, it's not nearly as much work as it looks like to complete the honors program, because you'll be so invested in it, it won't feel like work.
I think it's a good point that you brought up, though. Time management, probably the most useful skill that you will develop if you don't already have it well developed in high school. You'll definitely develop it in college. Having all that free time suddenly means that it's easy to get nothing done. So it's important that that you learn how to do that. Any other thoughts on this subject before I toss out another question?
I just
Sarah.
want to say, don't feel like you have to get a job right away, honestly. I gave myself a semester my freshman year. Like, I gave myself a first semester, kind of figure out what I was doing and, kind of just find my place and stuff. And then second semester freshman year is when I started looking for jobs. So don't feel like you have to throw yourself into all of it at once, which is one thing I would like to add.
Thank you, Sarah. Great question here in the Q&A. How will taking honors courses help me in my career? What is the advantage of honors courses over regular courses? So that may be a good one for Scott and Maria to at least start out on. Any thoughts?
Start. I actually have my current job, or one of my current jobs, because I was in the honors program. So I'm actually working as an academic advisor and the managing editor of Logos as a graduate assistant to the Honors College. And that a lot of the skills that I learned from taking honors courses, from learning how to experience interdisciplinary learning, how to have academic discussions, how to think critically, how to read, and how to write well. Those were some really extremely important skills. But I'm also currently I'm no longer on the job market, but I was able to get a career as a freelance writer. And so now I currently write articles for, I don't know if anybody uses it, but Screen Rant. And so I write professionally for them and am on track to become an editor. And I think how the Honors College helped me with that, they made me a self-starter. And what I mean by that is you have to take control and ownership of your own learning. You have to direct your own study schedule. You get to kind of guide the coursework. So your instructor might say, here's a topic, you're supposed to write a paper, but you get to be creative and decide, okay, what do I want to learn about and how best to learn it? You're going to learn how to do research. You're going to learn how to talk to people in different disciplines and how to examine issues from various perspectives, various disciplines. So I was able to combine technical writing and screenwriting and really learn more about both. I've been able to learn how one of my courses, I had Victorian sexualities, and I had a costume designer friend who built a Victorian cycling suit for women as a costume. And so I got to learn how fashion design played a part in literature and culture in the Victorian era. So you get to learn from your peers as well as your instructors. And I also think the advantage is it's a smaller class size with a large community. And so you have these people who are just like you, like-minded students, I should say, who might be doing different things, but who are all interested in succeeding, interested in having those conversations, in learning new things, in trying new things. And so you're always going to be supported. And you get a lot of really cool opportunities from that. You can work with these students. If you choose to do a distinction project, you can work with another student in a discipline other than your own to make like a huge collaborative project. So it's a really nice way to build your network, to take advantage of some opportunities for career building, resume building, and then, to learn how to learn is what I like to say.
That's great. Great answer. Kind of a similar question that we're getting in the chat. I think this is just another excellent. Is it more challenging for someone going for a very competitive? I'm going to try that one more time. Is it more challenging for someone going for a very competitive postgraduate program to take honors classes, especially if you want to go into med or law school where you need to keep a very high GPA? I know the answer to this question, but I'll see if somebody else wants to answer.
So I'm not going into med or law school necessarily, but I have been accepted to a couple of graduate MAs, specifically in humanities degrees. And I found that I think taking honors classes, kind of like Maria was saying, it preps you in different ways than regular classes do. A lot of my honors classes were very discussion based, or they'd be like more project based. And you're sort of left to your own devices a lot more. And I also think that in taking these classes that weren't necessarily directly in line maybe with like what your major is specifically, it broadens your horizons a little bit, and it gives you a chance to explore some other avenues that you may not have before. And I think a lot of times honors classes are like everybody's putting forth effort, and if you put forth the effort, you're going to do okay. I didn't find them too stressful ever.
I think it is also true, if I'm not mistaken, that Scott and Maria, please correct me if I'm incorrect, but that students in the Honors College tend to have higher GPAs than their peers who are not in the Honors College. Isn't that the case?
Yes, that is correct. In the spring of 2020, so last spring, the average GPA for all students in the Honors College was 3.78. And that's on the 4 scale, so 3.78. And by way of comparison, the average GPA for all students at Missouri State University is around 3.0. So our students do tend to perform at a significantly higher level. Also, 88% or more of Honors College students will graduate with a final GPA of 3.5 or higher. And the corresponding figure for the university is 27%. So almost 9 out of 10 Honors College students will graduate with what we call scholastic honors, 3.5 or higher. About 1 in 3 Missouri State students achieve that same benchmark. So that gives you a sense not only of the quality of our students, the support they receive from their advisors and their instructors, but also just, I think it speaks to the different kind of environment in the classroom. There are so many different people you'll meet at a college. They have different priorities, different levels of commitment to their studies. And I think our students thrive when they're around other students who are similar to themselves. They don't compete with one another per se, but I do think they challenge one another in positive ways. They encourage and support one another. And, you know, what Casey does lifts Kendall, which lifts Sarah, which lifts Belle, and I love seeing the way our students really come together. I can't guarantee you that you're going to get into the most competitive graduate programs in the country, but I'm very proud of the fact that last spring, Kobe, who graduated from the Honors College with distinction in chemistry, was offered a full doctoral fellowship to the chemistry program at Harvard. So you can't do too much better than that. And I have a lot of stories like that. I've got students in the Ivy League. I've got students at Stanford, Duke, Northwestern. Someone on the screen, I won't pick on her, but has been admitted to Indiana Bloomington, which is one of the top public universities in the United States. Another person on the screen is planning to doing her graduate studies in the United Kingdom. You can go to very great places. So I don't think that Honors College holds you back or penalizes you in any way. I think it helps draw attention to you. It says things about you in terms of your motivation, your responsibility, dependability, discipline, creativity, curiosity, and the willingness to take risks. And I think that's really important, both in the job market and in graduate schools. You don't want to hire someone who looks for what's the minimum level I have to perform at and always meets that. That person isn't going to stand out. And that's not a person you want in your organization or in your classroom, or certainly, you know, if you're advising a doctoral student, you don't want that. You look for the stars, the self-starters, the self-seekers. And I think for Missouri State students, when you apply nationally and internationally to graduate programs, a lot of the schools you apply to aren't going to know much about your alma mater. So Missouri State, I haven't heard about them. I don't know a lot about what they do. They do know what honors study means. That's something of a national standard. So they're gonna be like, we have an honors college at our institution. We understand what those students do, what their caliber is. And they also understand that you've separated yourself from that pack, not just GPA wise, but the fact that you're more likely to publish, attend conferences, lead organizations, be a peer leader or a mentor or a tutor or things like that. It's all about demonstrating that you're willing to take advantage of the opportunities made available to you. So you can come and you can disappear on campus and you can blend in and no one will remember your time at Missouri State. Or you can come here and you can make just as much of an impact upon us as we hope to make upon you. And that's what I love about working with honors students, and especially to my seniors on this panel. I'm so proud of you guys. I'm going to miss you next year, but I know you're going off to do great things. You're going to tell people great things about Missouri State, and they're going to think, when they hear Missouri State, they're going to think of you and be like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's our vision for all of you guys who are listening tonight. So yeah, if you want to go to medical school, law school, doctoral programs, whatever it is you're looking for, we can definitely help you get there from here. Just let us know what you're interested in, and we're going to come up with a one-on-one customized plan to help you meet your needs.
We're not far from where we need to end this particular discussion tonight, but I'd like to go over just a little bit of time, because there are a couple of questions I'd like to ask everyone. But also another one has popped up, which I think is good. Scott, maybe you could address this. Is living in the Scholar's House more beneficial to your academic career and getting established versus living in other student housing?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say yes. And students, if you feel like I'm getting this wrong or you want to expand upon this, please speak up. But one of the first things that occurs to me is the fact that you have so many people around you who are supportive of what you're doing. And in some cases, that means they're taking the exact same courses you are. So you'll get students get together and form a study group to help them succeed in a class like human anatomy, which is quite rigorous. But even if you guys are taking different classes, I mean, all of you understand the time and the maturity and the seriousness that you have to put into your studies. And people aren't going to hold you back or interfere with that. They're going to encourage you. They're going to support you. They're going to have quiet time together. I think there's really kind of an all hands on deck culture in Scholar's House where everyone wants everyone else to succeed. And correct me if I'm wrong, Casey, I think this year, don't you guys even have like a hall GPA challenge? Like I think each floor is measuring average GPA, and whoever has the best GPA gets, I don't know, pizza or a TV or something cool.
And it's my floor. So We're
That
doing
is
well.
Camden's closing in fast. Beware.
Yeah, she is. She's trying.
Boy, that is exactly the kind of contest I would expect to hear about from folks
yeah.
living at Scholar's House. That's great.
You can get the higher GPA.
Yeah,
Whoa.
yeah, that sounds like it. I do want to mention, bear in mind, it's hard to go wrong with a choice of housing on campus. We have wonderful residence halls. Any residence hall that you live in, you're going to have amazing opportunities to get to know people on your floor. You'll have lots of support services that are available to you. You'll have an amazing experience. That's not to say that Scholars House isn't a particularly unique experience as well. And so, we certainly encourage you to check it out if you're interested. Okay, last
Can I add something real
you
quick?
may, Sarah, please.
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons I picked Scholars was because I knew I was going to be living with people who were like-minded in education. Like I knew they would take their studies seriously. So if I don't know, if I asked someone to be quiet because I was studying, they would probably respect that because they also do the same thing. I will say though, I had a lot of friends in the Honors College who didn't live in Scholars. They lived in other buildings across campus, and I personally don't believe that they got anything less out of the Honors College than those students living in Scholars. I think that living in Scholars is great for the community aspect, but like Sean was saying, you get a community aspect in every building you live in on campus. So don't feel like you're going to be missing out from anything just because you can't live in Scholars. You didn't make it in. It's not the end of the world, honestly. Yeah, thank you, Scott. You create your community. So don't sweat it if that's not your favorite building on campus or you don't get it in, because you will find your place. And don't feel like you have to live there in order to get the most out of the Honors College, because you get a little bit of the honors community aspect, but I have successful friends in the Honors College who never lived in Scholars. So
Michael popped in with another question. Speaking of education, what do you think of education-related honors courses? Says he absolutely adores education, so he would like to know. Is somebody chomping at the bit to answer that?
I am, because I took education and the seduction of modern culture, and I'm not an education major, I'm an English major. I had the best experience. It was absolutely incredible. We got to sit down and learn about how we have set up the philosophy of education over the years and how it's changed because of modern culture, and what we can maybe do to sort of break out of kind of almost the monotony that we have created in the education system, particularly at the younger foundational levels. So, I mean, there are courses in the Honors College on just about everything, but that one really felt unique to me because it really focused on how we learn, how we set up teaching of basically the entire society that we live in, and kind of where we can go from here. It was the first time anyone had ever explained to me why we took gen eds also, and I never forgot it. And I have used that class as a basis for almost everything since. So I would say the education honors courses are fantastic. And really you can't go wrong with any of the topics. What I like about those interdisciplinary honors classes is that it's an instructor designed that class. Someone really wanted to teach that, and they have to be invited to do so. So they're the best of the best, and they're excited about it.
That's great. I think that, so I've got two final things I want to ask of our panelists. The first one is, would any of you care to share an amazing research or classroom experience that you've had in the Honors College? An amazing professor that you've connected with, or something cool that you did? Anybody want to talk about that? Give an example. And then I have one more after that. Casey, I see, has raised his hand.
Yeah, so since I'm a freshman, I haven't quite gotten to the crazy research things or anything like that. I've only taken 2 or 3 honors courses, but I think the thing that's stood out to me the most so far is that in high school, I think we all had our favorite teacher, and the reason that they were your favorite was because they interacted with you as a human being and not just as a student. And because of the close-knit nature of honors courses, that's every honors professor. Of the 3 classes that I've taken, all 3 of them are people that I've been able to just have one-on-one conversations with that seem genuinely concerned about my well-being as well as my education, and that are just fun and funny people. And like today, I had an honors theater course, and my professor asks that we all call him Kyle. And he's a cool guy, and we had like a fun little exchange during class, and that's how all honors classes feel. They're just fun.
Great. Anybody else?
Yeah. I remember, so I was in the Accelerated Honors College, so talk to your advisor if you're a candidate for that, but I hadn't taken any honors classes until my junior year. I remember I was really stressed out about it because it was dystopian feminism literature. And I looked at the syllabus, and we were supposed to read 10 novels, I believe, over the course of the semester, and I was like, I haven't touched a book in a while. I've been so busy. I haven't made time for reading. I'm so worried. How am I supposed to read all of these books? And it was one of my favorite courses I've taken at Missouri State. It was with Dr. Shannon Woodley, and she was incredible. And it was all discussion based. We all just read the chapters and then talked through them, what things meant, what the themes were, how they connected to other books that we'd read during the course. And it really just like brought back my love of reading too. It turned me on to audiobooks also, which is something I hadn't done before. And so I absolutely loved that class. It was incredible. And then kind of on the research side, I did research this summer. That was not something that was on my radar until I joined the Honors College. Again, it was something I was really stressed out about for the distinction project. I was like, I don't know what research is. I don't even know what that means. What do I do? What do I research on? But it's cool because you get to work with a professor of your choice. So I got to work with one of my major professors, and we actually wrote about the COVID-19 pandemic's impact on the live entertainment industry. So we worked on that this summer. It was a super fast turnaround because kind of how the publishing dates were, we wanted it to be timely, and the Honors College was really great making sure I got all that paperwork in and was able to do it. And yeah, we got published, which was something I never thought I would get published in undergrad. I never thought I would do research, but it's something really unique about the Honors College, and you should definitely take advantage of it if you can.
That's great.
I'd also like to speak about Distinction Project, if that's okay. I actually worked with the same faculty member from my freshman year. Tracy Dalton, she is dynamite at tech writing. And she's the one who sold me on it. I wasn't originally planning to do tech writing. It sounded really boring. And she is a salesperson. She did a really great job, and it's now my favorite thing. But I took an honors class with her in beginning technical writing that was a gen ed. And from then on, I was able to build, she was my advisor. I was able to build a relationship with her. She became my mentor in everything. She's the one who worked with me on my distinction project. I elected to do one just because I wanted to, and I'm glad I did. But I got to work with her one-on-one, and I still meet her right now over Zoom for coffee. And we just kind of talk. She's no longer my professor, and I still ask her for advice, for help. If I need anything in the department, if I am, just struggling, I can always go to her. She works with Logos, which is great. But you create that bond with someone who does research in something you're interested in. So for me, my distinction project was editing cycles in the revision of screenplays. And if you had asked me my sophomore year, hey, Maria, do you want to write about editing? I would have told you to walk away because I was going to start screaming. I did not like editing. And now I'm obviously an editor. It's my favorite thing. So I got to learn a lot from Tracy and to build that experience and to kind of become a resident expert in even the media department about how revision could work. So doing research with professors is fantastic. And you really get to learn from them and from their expertise, but you get to know them on a personal level too. And I'm sure I will be contacting Tracy about everything, probably for the rest of my life.
I was going to move on to our last question, but somebody asked a great one. So best extracurricular activity that you guys have participated in during your time at Missouri State? Was it zombies versus humans?
Oh, extracurricular, like a club or whatever? Is that what-
Yeah, or some activity or whatever. Yeah.
Sean will like this, but my favorite is my on-campus job, which is University Ambassadors, which is the campus tour guide. So I've met a lot of great people through that program. And there's so many opportunities for on-campus employment. I'm also employed in the writing center at the library in our Bear Claw. So my favorite on-campus activity sounds kind of lame, but I meet a lot of great people through those organizations, and a lot of on-campus jobs, especially like University Ambassadors or the Writing Center, feels also like an organization, not just a job. So those are some of my favorite things. But yeah.
Sarah just ran our recruitment of new ambassadors and did a fantastic job. She and her co-chair. So shout out to Sarah. Anybody else done something super fun they want to talk about?
I guess if like not talking about a club, but I helped my advisor, Dr. Julia Trochet. I helped her set up the Egyptological symposium that we did in October of 2019. It was a regional thing, so we had Egyptologists coming from St. Louis, Kansas City, all over for the RC, and just to present and help talk and introduce speakers and set up some like student presentations and stuff. And that was just really cool to be a part of that.
Very cool. Anybody else have a shout out for a organization they want to talk about or something they've done, Kendall?
Yeah, I do. This is like my favorite topic, so I'm going to try to not ramble on about it, but I love the organizations that I'm involved in. I've been involved, I'm going to mention two of them. I can't pick just one, but I've been involved with them since the very first meeting of each of them my freshman year. I thankfully was told about them at SOAR by my SOAR leader, and they've just really fitted what I wanted to get out of campus involvement. So they're the Student Activities Council and the Entertainment Management Association. So EMA is great because it's an organization for my major, but we also invite everyone to join. And it really helps us get the most out of our major by networking with our alumni, doing professional development, and also volunteering at really cool events across the country. This January, I went to the Super Bowl and I was there on game day in the stadium. So we volunteered and it was a really incredible opportunity. So again, that's open to everyone. The opportunity is available for anyone who wants to join the club. And then same thing, Student Activities Council. I absolutely love it. I got really involved with their leadership team, and because of it, I got to start booking comedians and concerts my sophomore year on campus. So I've gotten to book Anthony Porowski from Queer Eye. I got to interview him on stage for the show, which was really, really cool. I got to book T-Pain last year. It didn't happen because of COVID, but I just love that like I've gotten to do all of that because one, it's something I'm so passionate about. I love live music, live shows, stuff like that. So it's kind of fun for me to like fan out and still like work on my professional development while I'm in the club. So really, really cool. And we also do campus events for everyone for free. So anytime you're on campus, there was probably an SAC event going on that day. We typically do 3 to 5 events per week. And so even if you're not in the club, you can join in on the fun. I think there's virtual bingo tonight that I'm probably going to log on to after this is over. So lots of fun opportunities with SAC as well.
It's creative. I didn't know we had virtual bingo. That sounds, I don't know how that works, but it sounds pretty cool.
I don't know either, but we'll find out in about 30 minutes.
Can I jump in? Because if I
Please do,
don't
Maria.
mention Logos, I think Scott might be mad. So Logos was the very first club I joined on campus, and it has become obviously my job. I held almost every leadership position in it, and it's probably my favorite thing that I have ever done. Basically, we publish an undergraduate research journal. So you can submit, even if you're not in the Honors College, you can submit your work to Logos, but only honors students can work on it. And so we look at the academic publication process from peer review all the way to publication. And so we put out a volume every year. Belle and Sarah also both work on the journal, and you can become a peer leader. So you could be an associate editor who kind of takes on a group of peer reviewers. You can get an internship in copy editing with the journal, and you can, I mean, it's entirely student run and it's completely EBSCO searchable, vetted. We have faculty experts take a look at it, and that became kind of like my second family. I got really close. Some of my best friends that I still am really close to this day come from people I met through Logos. And I also got to learn a lot about what was going on in other disciplines, which was always really fascinating.
Logos is an amazing experience and opportunity. All right. Anybody else before we did have a quick question, and I may ask folks to. Oh, Casey, we're going to say something.
Oh, it was just quick. We had a house talent show, and I sang both parts of Man or Muppet with a sock puppet, and I won first place. So that was my favorite thing.
Do you have video of this you can share?
I have images for sure. Video might be harder to find.
All right. So here's what you got to do, folks. You got to come to Missouri State University, track Casey down, and make him show pictures of his Man or Muppet, or versus Man or Muppet. I remember the song, but I can't
Yeah, it's
remember.
from the Muppets movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will answer this next question real quick. Sorry to cut you off.
No,
Sean.
go ahead.
We're running out of time.
We are.
But I personally would not say that it's more difficult to balance honors college classes than it is any other class that I've taken at Missouri State. Personally, I don't think honors classes are that much more work than regular classes. Obviously, it depends on the course and it depends on the instructor. But honestly, I just feel like I've gotten more out of the in-class sessions from honors courses than having extra busy work to do out of class. So, like I said, it depends on the class. Like, don't quote me on that, because some professors do give you more work. But like, I'm in the, one of the like senior classes right now, and it's just like 6 of us, and basically it's just heavily discussion based. We just read stuff and talk about it and stuff. And a lot of my courses have been just kind of more like honors theater that Casey mentioned. Like that's not any more difficult than the regular theater class in my opinion, but we get to do like a cool presentation at the end of the semester that maybe not the regular section got to do. So short answer, no, not really. It's pretty much the same amount of commitment as any other class.
Okay. Wonderful answer. We are 19 minutes past our theoretical stop time. So I think we have to kind of start drawing this to a close. I promised our panelists that we would be done by about 8:30 or so at the very latest. So I'm gonna ask them all a final question. Before I do so, however, I wanted to ask Scott and Maria if folks who haven't decided, if folks have now decided that they want to join the Honors College, and we hope that all of you have decided that you want to join the Honors College, if they want to accept that offer of membership, can you real quickly tell them again what they need to do?
Absolutely. We ask everybody who's interested to try to reply before April the 1st. And on both your Honors College invitation and also the email newsletter that I sent out to you last week, you will find a web hyperlink. Go to that website and you put in your name and your information, and that allows you to accept our offer. If for any reason you can't find that, just drop us an email at honorscollege@missouristate.edu, and we'll make sure that we send that to you again. I don't want to post it here tonight just because it'll go on the World Wide Web and everybody will try to join Honors College. And that would be a little overwhelming, but we would love to hear from you by April the 1st. That way we can guarantee that we have a seat available for you when you register for classes this upcoming summer. Without too much pressure on you, I want to let you know that housing applications are open and available right now. If you're interested in Scholars House, which is competitive, you should try to apply as early as possible, and you need to be in the Honors College in order to do that. Also, registration for SOAR, which is Summer Orientation, Advising, and Registration, is now open. And the first 2 dates of SOAR, June 7th and 8th, are exclusive to the Honors College. So if you would like to be the very first freshman to register for classes next year, and what a difference that makes. These students hopefully will back me up on this. You want to be the first to register, you sign up for Honors SOAR. You can do that as early as tonight, as long as you've accepted your invitation to the Honors College. So there are 3 really good reasons to get in touch with us early and let us know you're interested. We want to save you a space. We want to save you a space in the Honors Community and Scholars House. We want to save you a space in Honors SOAR, if at all possible.
I might mention real quick as an addendum to that, bear in mind that there is a $100 deposit to turn in your housing contract, and you do have to pay an enrollment deposit of $150 before you can sign up for your SOAR date. That said, both of those fees are fully refundable up until May 1st. So if your plans would change between now and May 1st, you can get your money back. So if you're strongly considering Missouri State, we would encourage you to accept your Honors College membership, which is free, pay your housing deposit, sign up for housing, pay your enrollment deposit, and sign up for SOAR. And Scott is answering the question about attending SOAR virtually. So that'll go out to everybody. Okay. It's 8:22. We gotta bring it to a close. Final question for our panelists. So you remember, as I said earlier, what it was like whenever you were a senior trying to make your final decision. What sort of advice would you give to students who are in this position now? What sort of advice would you give them about college? No more than a minute or two per answer.
I would say go with your gut and just go with what feels right to you. I think that, if you look at it holistically, like I said, I think a few people have echoed this. Missouri State just felt like the right choice for me. And I think if it feels like the right choice for you, we would love to have you here. And everybody, I think would really love to get to know you. So, yeah, just do what feels right, I think.
I was going to say the exact same thing. Just pick the college that feels right to you. And then wherever you open up, this is advice for college, be open to new experiences. If there's free events happening on campus, go to those. You never know who you'll meet. You might have a super fun time. Try a new sport. If you're interested in intramurals, you can do any of those too. So just really open yourself up to a bunch of new possibilities, because college is a really good time to explore interests that you have, and also interests that you don't know you have. So no matter where you end up, we'd love for it to be Missouri State, but just really open yourself up to learning and growing while you're in college.
I would say don't stress too much. I know that this seems like everything right now, college and applications and stuff like that, but just take a break and take a breather and remember that, you'll figure it out. It'll all turn out okay, whatever you decide. And 3 years from now, I barely even remember all the stress that I went through. So don't, it's a big decision, but it's, not the end of the world if not everything goes the way that you plan.
I would say if you're not sure what you want to do, if you're not sure what you want to major in, what kind of opportunities you're looking for, that's good. I love undecided students. I think that is the best way to go into any school that you choose with an open mind and a willingness to, kind of like Kendall said, try new things, learn something new, try a subject you might not have ever had an interest in before, because you never know where you're going to find that passion. So I would suggest looking for a school that gives you the opportunities that seem interesting, and then go from there. When you do finally make it onto campus, start taking those risks, and don't be afraid of making those, I wouldn't say mistakes, but doing things that, hey, maybe I wasn't so sure about, because that's often where some of the best times and the best experiences come from.
Yeah, and I know that a year ago when I was in that position, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life or what I wanted to do in college, and that really scared me. And then I was a senior of 2020, so COVID happened, and I didn't get, my graduation speech was given online. My prom was 2 people in my backyard. That didn't help things. And so I remember being in the position when it was time to choose college and then actually come here. I was very just jaded and worn out and kind of depressed and afraid of everything that was going to be going forward, because everything right now just seems so difficult to get excited for. And it was almost the added stress of college and COVID at once really worried me. And then by the time I got here to Missouri State and I went through my first week and I started seeing what was available on campus and what my classes did look like, especially in the Honors College, a lot of that went away. So if you are also worried about attending college next year, especially in the COVID-19 climate, even as it gets better, I can assure you, if you come here and you look for connections with other people, you are going to do just fine.
Outstanding. Well, folks, I'd like to give you a virtual set of applause for all of your outstanding work tonight. Thank you, Scott and Maria, for assisting us, and for the student panelists, Belle, Kendall, Casey, Sarah. Thank you so much. A round of applause for your outstanding answers, for sticking with us to 8:27. I might mention, folks, if you have any questions related to admissions, please let us know at admissions@Missouri State. Of course, you can email honorscollege@missouristate.edu, and a number of the students have put their contact information in the chat. So please feel free to email them if you have further questions. We're going to end up posting this on YouTube. So if you want to review it at some point, you can go to the Missouri State Admissions YouTube channel to watch as many times as you would like to. Thanks again to everybody. Thanks for joining us, everybody, tonight. It's been a pleasure having you with us. We hope to see you at Missouri State in the fall. Have a great evening. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thanks for being